What if the voice in your head telling you you're not enough is the biggest lie you've ever believed? What if the shame you carry, the comparison, the self-doubt, the constant pressure to prove yourself isn't truth at all, but a story you were handed? Let me tell you something with absolute clarity. You were never meant to earn your worth. You were born with it. Somewhere along the way, you started measuring yourself against beauty standards, against success metrics, against someone else's highlight reel. You began believing that love must be deserved, that approval must be chased, that belonging must be negotiated. And that's where the wound began. We live in a culture that profits from your insecurity. It whispers, be thinner, be smarter, be quieter, be louder, be more, be less. It keeps moving the target so you never feel complete, so you never rest. But here's the truth that will set you free. Your worth is not up for negotiation. You are not R.A. Summe. You are not your mistakes. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are a human being wired for connection, designed for courage, deserving of love exactly as you are. And today, we begin tearing down the lie, because you are enough, and it's time you believed it. Shame is the quiet thief of your joy. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it leans in close and says, don't let them see you. If they really knew you, they would walk away, and over time, you start believing it. You hide the parts of yourself that feel messy, the parts that feel broken, the parts that feel too much or not enough. But listen to me carefully, shame survives in secrecy. It grows in silence, and it feeds on your fear of being unworthy. Shame is not the same as guilt. Guilt says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am the mistake. And that difference changes everything. When you believe you are the mistake, you stop raising your hand. You stop speaking your truth. You stop asking for what you need. You shrink. You armor up. You pretend. And pretending is exhausting. You were never meant to live behind armor. You were never meant to hustle for your worth. The courage it takes to say, this is me, imperfect, unfinished, still learning, is the courage that dismantles shame. Because here's the radical truth. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the birthplace of love, belonging, and joy. The moment you dare to show up as you are, not polished, not perfect, but real, shame begins to lose its grip. You are not flawed beyond repair. You are human, and being human has never disqualified you from being enough. Somewhere along the way, you learned that love must be earned. You learned that if you achieve more, fix more, give more, sacrifice more, then maybe, just maybe, you'll finally feel worthy. So you hustle, you overwork, you overextend, you say yes when your soul is screaming no. You become everything for everyone and slowly disappear from yourself. That's not strength. That's survival. When you tie your worth to productivity, you will never rest. When you tie your worth to perfection, you will never feel peace. When you tie your worth to other people's approval, you hand them the power to define you. And here's the dangerous part. Even when you succeed, it won't feel like enough. Because the finish line keeps moving. You get the promotion, but now you have to prove you deserve it. You look the part, but now you have to maintain it. You win the praise, but now you fear losing it. That's not freedom. That's a treadmill. Your worth is not a reward for good behavior. It is not a trophy for achievement. It is not a payment for perfection. You do not have to bleed to belong. The most radical thing you can do in a world that tells you to constantly improve yourself is to stand still and say, I am already worthy. Not because you've done enough, not because you've achieved enough, but because you exist, and that is more than enough. The deepest human need is not success. It's not status. It's not perfection. It's belonging. And here's the hard truth. You cannot truly belong if you are hiding. When you edit yourself to be acceptable, when you soften your opinions, silence your needs, shrink your dreams, or laugh when something hurts, you may fit in. But you will not belong. Fitting in is about changing who you are to be accepted. Belonging is about being accepted for who you are. And belonging requires courage. It requires the courage to let yourself be seen, not just your strengths, but your fears, not just your confidence, but your uncertainty. It means saying, this matters to me. It means risking rejection for the sake of authenticity. That's terrifying. Because when you show up as your real self, you lose control over how people respond. Some may misunderstand you. Some may walk away, and that stings. But hear me clearly, the right people don't require you to betray yourself to stay. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you strengthen your sense of self. Every time you speak your truth with trembling hands and a racing heart, you are practicing bravery. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to show up while fear is present. You were not designed to live invisible. You were designed to live fully expressed. And the moment you stop performing is the moment you start belonging. Failure has a way of branding you, if you let it. One mistake, one rejection, one heartbreak, one public fall. And suddenly, you don't just say, I failed. You start saying, I am a failure. That shift is subtle, but it's devastating. Because when failure becomes your identity, you stop trying, you stop risking. You convince yourself that playing small is safer than feeling that sting again. But listen to me, failure is not the opposite of worthiness. It is proof of courage. You cannot be brave and never fall. You cannot create and never be criticized. You cannot love and never be hurt. The only way to avoid failure is to avoid living. And that cost is far greater. The people you admire, they have failed more times than you can count. The difference is not that they are more capable. It's that they refuse to let failure define them. Your mistakes are events. They are not verdicts. You are allowed to fall apart and still be worthy. You are allowed to mess up and still be lovable. You are allowed to start again as many times as it takes. Resilience is not about never breaking. It's about refusing to believe that breaking makes you worthless. So the next time you fall, don't whisper, I'm not enough. Stand up, breathe deep, and say, I am learning. Because growth is messy. Courage is messy. And being human is beautifully, unapologetically messy, and none of that disqualifies you from being enough. Comparison is a silent thief. It steals your joy without making a sound. It convinces you that someone else's success is proof of your inadequacy. It tricks you into believing that their beauty diminishes yours, that their talent invalidates your gifts, that their progress somehow erases your worth. And in the age of curated lives and filtered perfection, comparison is relentless. You scroll, you watch, you measure their body, their relationship, their career, their confidence, and without even realizing it, you begin to shrink. But here's the truth, you are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You are measuring your raw, unaided humanity against a performance. That is not a fair fight. Comparison is rooted in scarcity, the belief that there isn't enough success, love, recognition, or joy to go around, but worthiness is not a pie. Someone else getting a slice does not mean there is less for you. You are not in competition with anyone else's path. Your life has its own timing. Your voice has its own texture. Your story has its own rhythm. When you chase someone else's definition of enough, you abandon your own. And that abandonment hurts the moment you decide to honor your journey with its pace, its detours, its lessons. Comparison begins to lose its power. You don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to be fully, unapologetically you. And that is more than enough. Let's talk about something that makes so many of us uncomfortable: boundaries. You've been told that being kind means always being available. That being loving means always saying yes. That being strong means carrying it all without complaint. So you stretch yourself thin, you tolerate disrespect, you swallow your needs, you convince yourself that exhaustion is just the price of being good. But hear this clearly, boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you chip away at your own self-trust. Every time you allow behavior that hurts you, you silently tell yourself, my comfort doesn't matter. And over time, that betrayal builds resentment, not just toward others, but toward yourself. Setting boundaries is an act of courage. It means risking disappointment. It means allowing someone to be upset. It means choosing your well, being over approval. And that is terrifying when you've built your identity around being the dependable one. But the truth is, the people who truly value you will adjust. The ones who only valued your compliance may resist. And that tells you everything you need to know. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. When you say, this is not okay, you are not being difficult. You are declaring your worth. You deserve relationships where respect flows both ways. You deserve rest without guilt. You deserve space without apology. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are doors that protect what is precious. And you, without question, are precious. Perfection is a moving target designed to exhaust you. It promises safety. If you get it just right, no one can criticize you. No one can reject you. But that promise is a lie, because perfection is not about excellence. It's about fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of being exposed. Fear of not being enough. So you polish, you edit, you rehearse. You delay putting your work into the world because it's not ready yet. You silence your voice because it's not smarter and enough yet. You hold back your love because it might not be received perfectly. But perfectionism doesn't protect you. It paralyzes you. The most meaningful parts of you, your creativity, your empathy, your leadership, your courage, they are born in vulnerability. And vulnerability is messy. It's uncertain. It's imperfect. The cracks you try so hard to hide, that's where your humanity shines through. People don't connect to perfection. They connect to authenticity. They connect to the tremble in your voice when you speak truth. They connect to the honesty of, I don't have it all figured out. They connect to real. You were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be brave. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you give others permission to do the same. And that creates something powerful, a world where we can show up as we are without armor. Your imperfections are not evidence of deficiency. They are evidence of being alive, and being fully, beautifully human has always been enough. Comfort will keep you small. It will tell you to stay quiet when something feels wrong. It will urge you to remain in relationships that drain you because at least they're familiar. It will convince you that dreaming big is dangerous, that speaking up is risky, that stepping forward might lead to failure. And comfort feels safe until you realize it's slowly suffocating you. Courage, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It asks you to have hard conversations. It asks you to risk rejection. It asks you to try again after you've fallen. Courage will require you to walk into rooms where you don't feel ready. To say, this is who I am, before you know how it will be received. But courage is where your life expands. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Every time you tell the truth, instead of performing, you strengthen your identity. Every time you take a risk aligned with your values, you build unshakable self-trust. You don't become confident first and then act brave. You act brave and confidence follows. Yes, you will feel fear. Your voice may shake. Your heart may race. But fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that something meaningful is at stake. A small life may feel safe, but it will never feel fulfilling. You were not created to live cautiously half-expressed. You were created to live boldly, vulnerably, fully. And the moment you choose courage, you begin to live like someone who knows they are enough. Here's the final truth I want you to carry with you. You are enough. Not someday, not if you fix this, not if you achieve that. Right now, as you are messy, scared, imperfect, resilient, human, you are enough. You don't need to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't need to overachieve to earn love. You don't need to hide your scars to belong. Your worth is intrinsic. It cannot be lost, diminished, or taken away. Every time you show up fully, your voice, your heart, your authentic self, you affirm this truth. Every act of self-compassion, every boundary you set, every risk you take despite fear is a declaration, I am worthy. I am human. I am enough. So let go of the lie that you must be more. Let go of the shame that whispers you're broken. Let go of comparison, perfectionism, and people-pleasing. Stand in your own truth and breathe in the freedom of self-acceptance. The world will try to tell you otherwise. It will tell you to earn love, earn respect, earn belonging. But the reality is simpler and more radical. You were born worthy. You were born enough. You always have been. And nothing, not failure, not criticism, not fear, not shame can change that. So step into your life boldly. Speak your truth. Love fiercely. Fail bravely. Live unapologetically. And remember this every single day. You are enough. Always have been. Always will be. That is the power of embracing who you truly, of knowing your worth. You are enough.